Is that what I do?
All those in favor?
Or all in favor?
Yep.
Say aye.
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 Congratulations.
Oh, well, thank you. This is going to be interesting. Okay. Do we have any nominations for vice chair?
I'll nominate Mark.
Second.
Do you have any other nominations? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Do we have nominations for clerk?
Anybody interested? I'll nominate Brenda.
Second that.
Any other nominations? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And for, I think, Chris, do we have to change the check writing on this now? Okay, so do we have to change it if we take Rochelle off there? Okay, I nominate Rochelle. Second.
Second.
Any other nominations? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, everybody. Public comments. Now is the appropriate time for visitors in the audience to be recognized and to speak on items both on the agenda and of general concerns to the patrons of Green River Schools. There will be a limit of 3 minutes for an individual and 5 minutes for a group spokesperson. No speaker shall speak more than twice on any issue. The board is legally obligated to maintain confidentiality concerning district personnel, and therefore matters concerning district personnel will not be discussed. Do we have any comments? Okay, we'll move on. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda with one change, the removal of item 6.01?
I would make a motion that we approve the agenda with the amendment, taking 6.01 off that.
Second.
Moved by Steve, seconded by Robin. All in favor?
Well, before we do,
Oh,
okay,
sorry. Go
I was
ahead.
just going to mention, we discussed this in the facilities meeting on this locker room, and it was decided among the group that we would probably wait till April or May before we figure out how we want to fund it. The idea was to fund half of it with, or a little over half, wasn't it, Doug? A little over half of it from Rec Mill, and I thought, well, let's wait and see kind of where we're at with our money before we make that decision. So that's why it was taken off there.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Can we have a motion for approval of the consent agenda items?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Robin, or moved by Brenda, seconded by Robin. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
And then we just have an update from Christine on the budget.
Chairman Castilian and Superintendent Behringer and Board of Trustees. The rec board budget is tracking as usual. We're about 50% collected on the revenue, and the expenses are tracking as well. I know that the bleachers are a little outstanding at 10%, but that is wrapping up according to Mr. Hamill. And Tony has began the purchasing of softball program startup equipment and the track high jump pit and the Lincoln volleyball, which is not reflected on here, but those expenditures have begun. And so it's tracking as normal.
Thank you. Does anyone
Thank
have
you.
any questions?
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Anybody have any comments? Then we'll adjourn the meeting.
tongue, my baby. Is that good cereal? Hey, do you want me to show you how to drink it? Here, you can drink it out of here. Drink it. Right there. No, here, watch. Right there. Mmm.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda is the annual nomination and election of officers. I need a nomination for the chair.
I'll nominate Steve.
Any other nominations?
I'll make a nomination to keep the officers the same.
We'll do them real quick. Okay, is everybody okay with that?
Made a nomination.
Rochelle, you okay with being vice chair? Clerk, you're okay? Robin?
Yep.
Ashley, good? Okay. Okay, moved and second to keep the officers the same. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That was easy. All right, next on the agenda is the committee assignments. And I did talk with all of you, most of you, I should say. And it appears that most of you want to stay where you're at. I didn't hear anybody argue about that. So the Super 8 committee will be, with Karina gone, will be Robin Stice and Ashley Castillion. And Brenda and Mark, you okay with alternates there? You want Dave to sit in there maybe? In case he has to? Okay, let's do that. Dave, why don't you be the alternate with Brenda? Super 8 is where they deal with policies and stuff, and it'd probably be good if you got called in there a couple times. Negotiations, all board members. The audit committee will remain the same. Core and Sanders. Region 5 BOCES board is Brenda. Sweetwater BOCES board. Mark, you still want on there? Okay, Rochelle Morris and Mark Sanders. Brenda will remain on the Wyoming School Boards Association. No need for calendar committee. District Facilities Committee will be Steve Core and Mark Sanders. CDC board is Brenda Russa. The Wellness Committee is Ashley Castillion. And you okay with that one, David? David Young. Rural School Liaison, we'll keep that the same. You okay with that, Mark?
Yep.
Hall of Fame, Dave, would you want to sit in the Hall of Fame? David Young on the Hall of Fame. And the Sick Leave Bank, Robin, you good with that? I'll be good with the alternate. The Budget Task Force, I thought about this. Chris, when do you think that they might meet?
What's that? We are organizing that group now, but we plan to meet late January, first part of February. With the changing of the legislature timeline, we're not sure what that'll look like, but we do know we need to have a plan ahead of that.
Okay. My thinking on this is myself, Rochelle, and Ashley is where my head's at. I think we need 3 board members on there. And that's
serve as an alternate if that's.
okay.
I'd like to be involved.
I think we all want to be involved, but we can only have 3.
Right.
Okay, moving on. Next item, scheduling of the meetings. All board meetings will be on the second Tuesday of the month with the exception of July when it will be on the third Tuesday of the month. I need a motion, please.
Second.
Moved by Brenda, second by Rochelle. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Designation official newspaper for the district, Green River Star and Rocket Miner. I need a motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Robin, second by Ashley. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Designation of financial institutions for the district funds, WildStar, WGIF, all banks in Sweetwater County. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Rochelle, second by Brenda. Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Designation of school board attorney. Currently, we have Hickey and Evans. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to retain school board attorney.
What's that?
Motion to retain.
Okay, moved by Brenda, second by David to retain Hickey and Evans. Any discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Need an authorization of interim check signing. Do we need that, Chris? We do, don't we? Okay, need a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Brenda, second by Rochelle. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Be sure you sign your conflict of interest statement that was given to you by Mary. Do that before you leave if you would. We may have all got it done. I don't know. Okay, great. Next item is public comments. Now is the appropriate time for visitors in the audience to be recognized and to speak on items both on the agenda, general concern of the patrons of the district. There will be a limit of 3 minutes for an individual, 5 minutes for a group spokesperson. No speaker shall speak more than twice on an issue. The board is legally obligated to maintain confidentiality concerning district personnel, and therefore matters concerning district personnel will not be discussed. Anybody like to speak to the board tonight? Mr. Foos.
Chairman Core, thank you. Trustees, Superintendent Behringer. Could I please get Colleen Seeloff up here? This is Sierra. You can come too. So as we know, Colleen's gonna have an awesome night. But before we get going into the Coach of the Year honors, Colleen had an honor, in my opinion, that is quite a bit bigger, and that's Teacher of the Year. And we're going to get that out of the way right now. Colleen, have some words here for some colleagues. Teacher of the Year, Colleen Seeloff. Were you aware this was happening?
No.
You are now.
All right. Yay.
Okay. Colleen Seeloff is a pioneer in both her teaching profession and in the arena of boys and girls swimming. She is an amazingly talented woman with both a tender heart and competitive spirit. She engages her kids in the classroom with multiple learning modalities in mind, and she is a great resource to bounce ideas off of as a member and a leader, our leader in the math department. That one's from Phil and a couple of others. I have one more. Okay, so I sent out a little APB, tell me, about Colleen. Here's another one I got. Where do I start? Colleen is always willing to work with and help others, all of us teachers. She is also willing to try new ideas all the time. As someone who has worked with her forever, I really admire her being willing to change when something doesn't work. It makes her not only an amazing teacher, but an amazing person as well. That one's from Sue. So one more round of applause. I'll finish up with just one other thing. Colleen, just a few short years ago, I think it might have been 9, we worked together at Green River High School. And the time we spent together is very precious and invaluable to me. And we're not going to regurgitate them here for the board, but the conversations we had as you with the department head and the closed door ones we had in my office where it was one way, her to me, those were the best of times. And I can't think of a more deserving teacher to receive this honor this year. And you've impacted students and student athletes alike. And you're the very reason children are excelling in math, and Colleen, you're phenomenal, and congratulations on the Teacher of the Year. That's all I have.
Oh, thank you. Colleen, you want to say anything about this, or you're just shocked?
Okay. I just want to thank everyone that I've been able to work with throughout the years, all the different principals, teachers, students. I just have loved them all, and it's quite an honor. I was very surprised, sorry. But I think, everybody's that I've worked with throughout the years has had an influence, I think, on me and taught me something. And I just want to thank all those amazing people that I've been around, because I think that they've made me the person I am. So I want to thank all of them. So
Well
thank you.
deserved, Colleen. Well deserved. Congratulations. And I believe that your name now goes into a different state Teacher of the Year. We'll vote for you.
All right.
We had a vote. We'll vote for you.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Colleen.
Thank you.
We'll see
Thank
you
you
here in
very
a
much.
sec.
All right.
Mr. Beardsley, don't go too far, I guess, Colleen.
Chairman Core, Superintendent Behringer, and Board of Trustees. It's my honor to continue to talk about Colleen Seeloff as not only the 3A West Conference Coach of the Year for girls swimming, but also the 3A State Coach of the Year for girls swimming and diving. And I wrote down a few things here. First of all, I think the greatest thing about Colleen, there were so many good things said about her with her teaching, but she's very dedicated. She works hard. Her peers in the coaching world have a great respect for Colleen. These honors like Coach of the Year come from your coaching peers. They're the ones that vote for you. And it's not always about winning, but it's about how you conduct yourself, how you represent your team, all of those things. And our team, as Mr. Sanders knows for sure, I mean, for the last several years has been just tough and tremendous. And it's a reflection on our whole coaching staff, on Coach Seeloff. And she, an example of the hard work she puts in and some of the things she does for the program that sometimes people don't see is every day in my office when she comes and says, hey, can we go here? Can we do this? Oh, we lost a swim meet. Can we have one? And then she's finding the referee. She's finding the people to help work it. We still have a 4A level schedule, even though we're in the 3A. She calls Laramie's head coach. We're going to Laramie and Cheyenne with our boys team over Christmas break. We're going over there again after Christmas break, where other 3A schools, they're just swimming against each other. And so she's going to keep that program rolling. She's just a great mentor for the kids. And I think the biggest thing I'd like to say about Colleen is that I have seen, especially the last couple of years working with her, how much concern and care she has for the kids. It goes really deep when she knows someone's in trouble or she's worried about some of the kids, she'll come and talk to me and see what she can do to help. And so it's that concern and care. And a lot of times after several years of coaching, you'll see that in coaches where they go from just wanting to win to actually this overwhelming desire to care about somebody and their well-being. And she's really been showing that the last couple of years. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce to you State 3A Coach of the Year for girls swimming, Colleen Seeloff.
All right, Colleen. And go ahead and have them all come in. That's fine.
Okay, perfect. Whoops.
Turn the lights off first. Here's your state champs, ladies and gentlemen, right there. I think that's great. And parents, if you guys want to come in and come over here away from the camera, that way you guys can take pictures or do what you need to do. You're welcome to do that. We just have the camera rolling right there. We just make sure we don't block that. Okay, Colleen, now that you brought the entire Green River High School student body, welcome. It's all yours.
All right. Well, thank you for that great introduction. I appreciate that. I just want to say that I always tell my other coaches that they are just as deserving as when I get these awards, that they're as deserving as I am. And it takes a team. It takes kind of a whole family. And so I just want to thank real quick all the people that have helped along the way with these girls. I mean, we've had a great SWAT program or USA program, our swimming program. The club, our school swim programs, our pool people that are teaching swimming lessons. You guys, just everybody in the community has really been behind this team this year and over the years. And of course, parents, we want to thank them for everything that they've done. But, so it takes all of us, I think, to produce a team like this. And so I'm just, want to thank everybody for helping out, and just thank these girls for being amazing this year and working so hard. And, they could have, it was hard this year with this whole COVID pandemic thing and having to wear masks in an 80-degree, 90-degree pool area sometimes, and getting out and you're breathing heavy. And the first thing you got to think about is throwing a mask back on. And, it was tough at times. It was very tough. As a coach, we're sitting on deck and we lose 50 pounds. Not that I didn't need to, but it was good. But, you're losing like 50 pounds, just sweating to death. And we still got that mask on, and it's drenched by the end of a swim meet that goes for 3-4 hours. And we made it through it all. And these girls did the right stuff, and we're able to finish the season in first place. And I just couldn't be prouder. And just, they're amazing. So, some things that these guys accomplished this year, not only winning 3A state, by the way, since the last time that we did that was 1976. So it's been a long time coming. I have to tell you, when we came into town, these girls were so excited to see all the lights and the cars and everybody just following us into town. It's such a cool reception. But anyway, so these girls have worked very hard to get that, and it has been a long time. And again, we're really proud of them for that. So we had a state record. We broke a state record in the 200 Medley Relay. And I'll just kind of have the girls step forward as I talk about them. Is that okay? Does that work? All right. So on my 200 Medley Relay, you girls that were on it, if you'll just step forward. We had Lauren Jensen right here. Raise your hand. Lauren Jensen swam the backstroke. We had Haley Urich swims the breaststroke. We had Lauren Lee, who is in quarantine, so she's not here. She swam the butterfly. And then we had Lily Munoz, who swam the freestyle. And so they broke the 200 medley relay by about 2 seconds. So that's a pretty good record. Individual state champs that we had this year were Lauren Jensen. She won in the 50 free in the 100 backstroke. Gotcha. And then we had Haley Urich in the 100 breaststroke. And between all these girls, they won several conference titles too. So they did really well. All conference, we had 9 girls. There was I want to make sure that I get all the names, so I had to write them down. We had Zella Mays, which is one of our divers. We had Courtney Clark. She's not here. She's in quarantine. She's a freshman. We had Brianna Urich. We had Lily Munoz. We had Haley Urich, Lauren Jensen, and Alexa Lozzi. And Lauren Lee, again, quarantined, and Maddie Young. All right, did I miss anybody? Okay. All right, and then we have all state honors. We had 6 of those girls, and that was, we had Courtney Clark, and we had Lily Munoz, we had Haley Urich, we had Lauren Jensen, we had Alexa Lozzi, we had Lauren Lee, and that was it, right? I think I got everybody. I'd like my seniors to step forward real quick. So one of them is missing, but I just want to recognize how great these girls did. And I don't know that we would be where we're at this year if these girls hadn't, done what they needed to do. They are a great group of leaders. And as a Green River High School teacher, I am so proud to see these girls graduate and move on into the big world. They're going to represent us well. They're amazing ladies, along with the rest of these girls on the team, but great leaders. So I'm so proud of them, and awesome job. So this is them. They're so cool. They're so good. Love them. So, Thanks
Cole,
for letting me introduce them to
You
you.
betcha,
'cause-
Colleen. We have a little bit of time here. Can we get all the girls to come up here out in front
Absolutely.
together and we can take a big picture of this and your accomplishment? I've always wanted to be in the Green River yearbook, so here we
There you
go.
go.
With a mask on.
I want everybody to notice that Coach Barker has a glitter shirt on. So, okay. And he wears it proud. He wears it proud.
We'll take the picture. Mark. No, we're tall enough. Everybody good? All right, congratulations.
Oh, it was great. Swimming's a great sport. Loved watching. Thanks.
Love to have you stay for the rest of the meeting, but I understand.
Hi, I need to steal some juice now.
No, you can't have any.
Actually, Jesse's is overflowing right now, so
Gotta have between.
I can buy him.
Okay, next on the agenda of the celebration continues, and we'll be recognizing our all-state football players. And in for the head coach tonight, Kevin Cuthbertson, we have his assistant, Justin Lamb. Justin, welcome.
Good evening, Chairman Core, Superintendent Behringer, and Board of Trustees. That's a tough act to follow, huh? But we did have some football recognitions for the football season. We did go 2-6. It's a little bit harder to get some all-conference and all-state nominations when you don't win as much, and something we're working on. But we did have 4 all-conference football players, and 2 of them were able to make it tonight. We had 2 who are not here. I think they're doing musical and some fall or some winter sports. And so Jacob Sheevy is not here. He was all conference and all state on the defensive line. He was 4th in the state in defensive points, which is absolutely incredible for a defensive lineman. It's pretty unheard of, actually. And he had like 75 tackles and had one game where he had 4 sacks, 3 consecutive sacks right before half in a row. And, you know, that was in Warland. And I looked at the stat sheet afterwards and they had us down for 0 sacks. So I went back to watch the film just to verify who had them. And I'm watching them like 1, 2, 3, 4 sacks by the same kid. And really incredible. Has a motor that just doesn't stop. Practices harder than he plays. And a really great kid. And he's a junior, so he'll be back. That'll be fun to have him again. So, and then Dylan Taylor, who's also a junior. I think he had basketball tonight and couldn't make it. He was all-state and all-conference wide receiver for us. He averaged 45 yards receiving a game. He had 4 touchdown catches, 2 that should have counted. We watched the film again, and you watch it live, and they're just such an incredible catch that the referees ruled him out of bounds, but then you watch it again in slow-mo on film, and just very incredible to see him make some big plays. And so he'll be back for us next year as well, so that's exciting. And so both of our all-state football players will be returning. And then we had 2 more all-conference football players. We'll start with Seth. Seth was a wide receiver for us and a corner, and he was also our punter, which this year ended up being one of our more important positions, unfortunately. But he did a good job punting for us, and then he returned kicks for us. And he was actually chosen to be the special teams player of the year for our conference, which is really cool. And there was a debate about who should get it, and Jackson was really pushing the kid on everyone. And to his credit, the Star Valley head coach stepped in and said, "Hey, this guy kicked a 76-yard punt against us. It happened to be like the last play of the season for us, unfortunately, but it was a boomer." And we looked it up. It was the second longest punt of the season. There was one longer 78-yard punt in 8-man football, which is crazy because their field's only 80 yards. So he had to be punting from the 2-yard line or 1-yard line. But yeah, really incredible kicker and a good receiver. He averaged 35 yards a game receiving, and also had 4 touchdowns for us. And it's a credit to his teammates as well. And, you know, when you have good receivers, you have good running backs, it really helps the team. But it's also a credit to our quarterback to have 2 receivers that are all conference is incredible. But our quarterback has to get them the ball. And our offensive line, who is responsible for all of those statistics, is also credited. And we had an all conference offensive lineman, Jake Martinez. And I'm just proud of him. He's a senior. He's worked extremely hard for us the last 4 years. Offensive linemen are very under-recognized and under-credited for their hard work. And to see them and what they go through every day, it's kind of incredible. You look around at practice, being the offensive line coach, you know, they're pushing those big, heavy sleds around and being yelled at and kind of hyped up to practice harder. And you look around and the receiver groups are running and catching balls, and the running backs are taking handoffs and just running with the football. And you look over and there's just beads of sweat pouring down their heads. So offensive linemen are definitely underappreciated, but he did an awesome job for us. We're going to miss having him. We're going to miss his mullet flowing at practice. And just the camaraderie that these guys brought to the team, we're going to miss having them around. And I'm glad that their hard work was recognized. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Good job, guys. All right, next is Give Me a Break. Literally there, Craig.
Literally, yes. Let's see, it is, I can't read that.
Put those glasses on.
Dogan Gundas? Am I saying that right? Huh? So I'm gonna be hanging out at Lincoln. No, there goes the math scores.
Well, you know, you do have the authority to make Joe Hamill do that. He is a math teacher after all. Just a suggestion there, Craig.
Good idea. I don't want his job.
Yeah. True. All right, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Rochelle, second by Robin to approve the agenda. I need a amendment to the agenda. We need to add 7.02.
I would make that amendment.
Brenda moved,
Second.
second by Ashley to add 7.02 here, district COVID update. Mr. Demeray will do that. We got a motion, a second. All those in favor of the add on to the agenda?
Aye.
Lost my words. Motion carries. And we have a motion to approve the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, opposed, motion carries. That was tough. Approval of the consent agenda items. Is there anything on there anybody wants to discuss? There being none, I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Moved by Rochelle, seconded by David to approve the consent agenda items. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item, quick update from Brenda, Rochelle, and Ashley. I believe you guys all three were involved in that. Brenda, your quick take on that? This is the virtual Wyoming School Board Association conference.
And I think it went really well. They had a couple glitches with the voting on the delegate assembly, but I think it was mostly due to members not logging in and getting set up the way they were supposed to beforehand. But we were able to get through the voting, and that worked great. I think they did an awesome job. They actually did a training on the book that we as a board used as one of our training sessions, The Trust Edge by David Horsaker, and it was just an impressive job. He streamed in. It was an amazing training. the gal that spoke from the Ohio State School Board, I believe. She focused, she wasn't quite as polished as him, but he's a writer, but she spoke on making sure that we're taking care of ourselves during these times, and our staff take care of yourself, your staff mentally, because these are very trying times. And so overall, I think it went very well. I was very impressed with the way they handled it.
Okay, Ashley, your thoughts?
Yes, I agree with those comments of Brenda's. I also found the legal updates really helpful. I looked at the agenda and was like 2.5 hours. There's no way. And then we ran out of time to go over everything, but it was really helpful with all the COVID and everything going on to just kind of be updated on the legal side of those things.
Okay, Rochelle?
Yep, well, I agree with both of them. Like, it was good. I think, yeah, getting the kinks worked out a little bit that first day was, it was a little painful, but we got it worked out, and it was good information overall, and it flowed really well. And it was, yeah, the writer, he was a great one to listen in on and hear what he had to say. So it was a good experience. Thank you for that.
All right, thank you. Appreciate
Also,
that.
they will
Go.
host, the WSBA will host the workshops that they typically do in January. I'm not sure exactly when they're going to schedule those, but they will be held virtually for new board member training. Those have always been really beneficial if you're interested in, in virtual, no roads to Riverton in January. Anyway, and they're also doing the board chairmanship training with that as well. So
Yeah, I see they've scheduled board chairmanship training, but I haven't seen the new, and they had that in the WSBA newsletter today. When I get that, I'll make sure I forward that on, and then we'll coordinate with Craig if we can work it out. Well, you don't have to drive, so spend a couple of hours. Okay. All right, great. Thank you. Next is consider approval of the certified resignations request. Dr. Foos, usually this is an April event.
Yes, it is, Chairman Core. Thank you, trustees, Superintendent Behringer. We have 2 mid-year requests for resignation for consideration for the board. I would like to report to the board. We have some unique circumstances for both of these. We do feel like we have viable replacements for both. The gentleman that is a 6th grade teacher, we have a replacement in there, and we feel like that is going very solid. We have a unique situation where a young man is home from college, majoring in PE and health, going to be online all next semester, and we're targeting him to plug him in for the other position that will become a resignation starting January 5th. So we feel like we have both of these secured fairly well, and thank you for your consideration.
All right, I need a motion to approve the resignation of Stephen Preble, 6th grade teacher at Lincoln.
So moved.
Moved by Rochelle, second by Robin. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is Tiffany Turner, physical education teacher at Lincoln Middle School. And Tiffany's letter, I assume everybody read that. She did a good job of that letter. Straightforward. Need motion, please.
So moved.
Moved by Rochelle, second by David to approve this. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Next, update on the state of the district. Mr. Behringer, welcome.
Thank you, Chairman Core, school board members. Okay, this is my first time with this clicker, so we're going to try and get through this. You know what? It's been said many times. It's a very unique year, and you can't say it enough. But I have to say, going into July when we were planning, I don't think we had much of a plan that we would be doing as well as we are at this point in the year with everything. So that's a great tribute to the people that work in the buildings and the people that help in preparing for those days. So our focus this year is our focuses are a little different than they normally are. Usually you set the calendar and you just go with it. Well, our goal is to get through that 175-day calendar. That is a big goal. So every discussion we have, and we talk about COVID every day, and Alan's going to go through some of the things that we've done and are doing, but our goal is always to make sure we get through that calendar. Our other focus is to ensure, like Brenda had talked about in one of the discussions, that lady from Ohio talked about ensuring taking care of the mental health, and it's never more important this year. And our goal is to make sure we take care of that for our staff and students and ourselves. And our other focus is that we meet those budgetary commitments we know that are coming up in the next fiscal year. So taking a look at the enrollment, I took this off. Everything I have, took off December 4th. So Chris will be presenting, and she'll have a little different numbers. But as of December 4th, we're down 212 students from a year ago. Our enrollment changes weekly, daily. But you can see the history of the enrollment over the past decade, and it continues to drop. This is a big drop. Chris will go through where some of those people are at in her presentation. Last year, Green River, our Sweetwater School District number 2 was the 10th largest district in the state. This year, the Wyoming schools have seen a 1.65% drop. That's about 1,500 students that have dropped. 38 schools have seen a drop in enrollment. 8 of those schools in the state have seen an increase. The biggest drop is 9.62% of a school district. The largest increase is 78%, and that is one of the schools that also has a virtual program. So they've seen a big jump. And I think 3 of those big jumps are from those virtual schools. So our demographics, we have 17% of our kids as of December 4th on an IEP. We have about 0.5% of our students are considered homeless, which is down. Our Title I services, we have 14% that qualify there. It is pretty inaccurate this year because right now we have free meals for everybody. So we have not gotten those free and reduced applications back in that really help us to determine the funding for that, which could be a problem next year. A couple of the elementaries are trying to do some programs to get those applications back in, so the numbers get a little higher. But everybody in the state is dealing with that because everybody's taking advantage, and rightfully so, of the free meal program for their schools. So if you take a look at the breakdown of our grades, our smallest grade in the district is our 2nd grade. There's 138 students in there. And our largest class is in the 8th grade, and we have 208, which you can see right behind them, 207 in the 6th grade. So we have 2 classes over 200 in the district, and the rest are 100 or little or over between 100 and 200. Our employees, we're looking back at fiscal year 15. We have 40 less teachers than we did at that time. And as you can see, the drop in enrollment, we currently have 530 employees in our district. The historical look at our general fund, you can take a look at those numbers there. Chris has more updated numbers on our loss of funding. We know going into next year that we have to plan for at least $855,000 less in our budget just because of the loss of enrollment. And so Chris has got updated numbers on that. So that, regardless of what happens with the legislature, we know we have some cuts we have to make. So some of the good news is you look at our extracurricular counts for middle school and high school. We have 527 kids so far that have participated. Some of those are double count, but are participating in activities at the high school. And we have 301 at the middle school. That is good numbers. The one thing one of the things we have if there's a silver lining, I don't know that we've ever appreciated the fact that we get to do what we usually do. And it was, you go out for the first football game, or you watch the homecoming parade, or go to the school play. It just brings us a sense of, wow, we are doing this. And for the past 34 years, I just thought it was something we did. This year, you really appreciate the fact that we get to do those. So we had some Tier 3 practice days, and so which went very well. I put some comments in there. I'm not going to read those to you, but I'm going to put some comments of some of our successes that we had heard throughout the district and some of the concerns. And we plan on doing another Tier 3 day down the road, just practice day in school, so that in the event that we had to go to Tier 3, we'd be better prepared. And I think across the board, we found that it was time well spent. We're trying to get rid of the talk that, oh, it's just going to be like last spring. It will be nothing like last spring. Very different situations. We're not thrown into this. We have time to prepare. So if we ever had to go to tier 3, we are much better prepared. So if you hear that, oh, I don't want it like last spring, believe me, it will not be. So I put in your board docs, I put in a document called The Age of Agility. It is really a popular, well-used document. It's referred to a lot. As a matter of fact, I was reading my school administrator magazine, and they had an article on the age of agility for youth in schools. And so what you're going to see in the next couple slides is really based off that. It's pretty easy read. I've highlighted some areas if you don't have time to read that document, but it's really good on what business leaders across the nation think we need to do in education. And across the board, one of the things, anytime you visit with a business person, is the top one: show up on time. So when we give a diploma at Green River High School, what does that mean? We hope that means that this person is ready to show up on time. We hope that they're able to persevere. Those are skills that we teach. That's not a course, but it's something that is taught in schools. If somebody goes through a 175-day school year and they go home and tell their parents that every day was great, then we missed the boat, because there should be some challenges and struggles along the way. It is a part of building that, and that's what we do through our perseverance. Part of that is growing students' emotional intelligences. One of the things that's said over and over, computers will never replicate the emotional intelligence of a human. You have to do that through interactions. You have to do that through failure, through good and bad. So we need to teach them to think critically. We need to have when our students leave the elementary, they need to be able to read and write. An auto manual is written at about the 8th grade level. You read the directions to put together that IKEA little platform, that's written about the 5th, 6th grade level. So our secondary skills, we got to teach the hard and soft skills at those secondary levels, which we're doing. So some of the intangible skills that we offer in public education is we teach kids to work through adversity. You go into any classroom, they are working with kids to overcome challenges. We need to develop the soft skills. We need to make our students dependable. We need to understand strong work habits. We need to build empathy. You do that by being in person with that person. You can't build empathy if you never see somebody. We need to teach kids to work as a team. And it is said over and over in business documents. We need people that know how to work as a team. You can't build a team if that team's never there. So we need to teach them to be lifelong learners. We do that by showing them that there's more to algebra than just algebra on day 25 in my classroom. We need to teach them to think logically and help them to think critically through a problem. So which leads me into the next few slides. Our distance learners, we have had a lot of discussion, and we knew when we opened this up, we knew there were going to be issues. We did not know what they'd look like. Well, we have a pretty good idea what they look like. At the elementary, we have about a 95% success rate with those kids online, and because they are checking in, they are live with their teacher. I watched a 2nd grade teacher take her Chromebook over to the reading table, and I go, Ralph, we're going to reading now. Takes him over to the reading table, sits him down. Takes his turn. He reads. They are live with that. They are learning from that teacher. They are a part of that class. In the middle school, and Mr. Hamill, that's why I don't want his job, because he was the one that dealt with a lot of this, is we had about a 79% failure rate. You would never bet in Vegas knowing that you're only going to win 31% or 21% of the time. So we're making some changes. 43% were failing multiple classes. And so it's not a large number of kids, but we go back to, what does that Green River High School diploma look like? So the average number of periods missed was about 162 periods. And so it's an online program. It's a little different. through Plato, but obviously we need to make some changes. At the high school level, there's a little better, but not a whole lot. 66.5% of the kids are not on pace with their class. So we have going through and looking, there's a few kids that are doing well. They are getting it done. They are on target, but 66.5% of them are not on target. And this was as of December 4th. It could change. 55% of those have completed the required modules. So again, we have to look at what do we have to do differently. So another good thing that we've done, and Mr. Heslop and I went over to Western Wyoming this fall, and we offer 90 plus classes online or through Western Wyoming for our high school seniors. When you read that Age of Agility, you will see that that's a big step towards making our students better prepared for the 21st century. So they're taking high level classes. I don't know how many students we have enrolled in those, but we do offer a lot of classes, and we're looking at how we're going to expand that and offer more classes. So where are we currently? We have great facilities. I mean, my gosh. And when you go walk around the buildings, there is a heightened level of stress. It's a stressful year. We have a lot of outside noise. But I'll tell you what, when the bell rings, you would never know. We have a very resilient staff that I've seen. I see kids learning. I see kids engaged. I see a lot of what we would want to see in a classroom throughout the district. When you go to meet with teachers, you see them working in PLCs. They're very focused, whether it's at the third grade level, the high school English level. I sat in on the high school CTE meetings the other day, just great meetings and very professional discussed on what we need to do to make it better. And I will also credit our families have done an outstanding job of making sure that if they think their kid's sick, they're keeping them home. I talked to a mother yesterday. They had a test given, and they weren't sure of the outcome of the test, but there were some symptoms, so they decided to keep their kids home just in case. Those kind of things are going to keep our doors open this year. So our next steps, we need to do what we can through the central office and at the building level to make sure we meet the social and emotional goals in our buildings and those academic goals. We're going to organize that task force to take on those challenges that we know are coming with the budget in the next fiscal year and beyond. You heard the middle school's STEM presentation last month, which was outstanding. We need to, I've seen it work in the elementary. We need to see what we can do to keep those programs going, despite the fact that we have to make some changes. So we want to continue expand our work with Western Wyoming Community College. It's a great asset. They have great facilities, and it could give our kids a head start into college or into the vocational fields. So we want to work with some of our local groups to expand our preschool opportunities in our program. Without question, the biggest impact you can have on a kid is not when he's a high school senior, but when that kid is 3 to 5 years old. That is where the largest growth of learning happens. So when they're behind, when they say if you're behind in third grade, you're behind the rest of your career. Well, if you go back and look, that kid was probably behind in second grade, probably behind in first grade. So our best opportunity to make a long-term meaningful differences at an early age. So, and plus we need to continue to work with parents to educate them on what the soft skills are. Don't hide from challenges. Our coach, Seelof's Krupp is a great example of not hiding from challenges. We need to be able to tell parents, it's all right. It's all right if your kid fails. School is a great place for somebody to fail. There's a lot of support to help them through that next step. So anyway, so here's something that I saw from Ignite Wyoming. Very cool. Wyoming is, when you talk about quality education, Wyoming is at the top in this area. It's interesting to look. I look back 15 years ago, Montana was there. And there's lots of reasons. We're not able to recruit very good teachers because the pay is so low. So as as those great teachers retired, we were not replacing them with great teachers or the potential of great teachers. But also when it comes to funding, it is very significantly down. So when they talk about education funding in Wyoming, you know, obviously there's some things there's some nicks and cuts we have to take like everybody does. But if you go in for the big time cut, you will see the state of Wyoming drop to where Montana unfortunately is at. So it won't happen in a year, but it will happen over the course of time. So anyway, thank you. Any questions?
Questions? Thank you, Craig. I have some comments, but I'm going to save them for at the end of the meeting. I'm a little disturbed by those numbers on failing on, I don't know about you guys, but maybe Dr. Desmarais will be able to explain how we're going to try to fix that. Alan, welcome.
Thank you, Chairman Core, Superintendent Behringer, and Board of Trustees. So as Superintendent Behringer just mentioned, our goal is to get through 175 school days. We know that the pandemic of COVID-19 has impacted every single employee in our district, whether it's a bus driver, our nurses, nutrition services, our custodians, all the way to our instructional staff, from teachers and paraeducators and our administrators. Everyone has had to make adjustments to how they do business. Same in our community, all of those businesses as well as our citizens. And we just need to remember to thank those folks. It's not easy. They have to make some changes in how they go about their everyday tasks. We've had to be a lot more diligent in regarding to cleanliness and wearing our masks and keeping that social distancing and following those guidelines, as well as for instructional staff, really looking at providing opportunities for when kids are not able to be at school. And that's through using technology and our remote learning and some of those opportunities. So, you know, I know that Superintendent Behringer mentioned it, but we can't thank them enough and thank all of our employees enough for having gone through our first semester. We're almost there. We've got a couple weeks left. And while we've had some cases, obviously, that have impacted our district and some of our students that are quarantined and some of our students that are at home, maybe ill, as well as our staff, we're almost there. We've almost made it to the halfway point. And we've learned a lot. I think that it's important to reflect on that and from our learnings, adjust to how we're going to manage our second semester. So this little presentation here really is on how we're going to adjust to our instructional delivery to our students, not so much maybe on protocols around cleanliness and wearing the masks and things. I think that most of those are in place, and our governor and our county and state health officials are definitely giving us guidance on those pieces. But folks have done an outstanding job of encouraging their children to wear masks. We've had a great support from our parents when they do come to our buildings, that they wear masks. Our staff are doing outstanding, and that's limited the number of exposure in our buildings. Have there been some hot spots in our buildings? Absolutely, across our nation. And unfortunately, sometimes that means students are quarantined, and we know that that poses some inconvenience for families, for those students. But our hope is that through the next slides, you'll see that we're going to try to do what we can to limit the impact on their instruction. All right, so the three things we're going to talk about really are, what are we doing for kids when they are quarantined or in isolation due to COVID-19 or other illnesses that are maybe a little bit longer term than your typical sniffles or maybe a stomach bug or something. Second piece will be our distance learners. You heard Superintendent Behringer talk about some of our successes and some of our challenges. And so we'll address how we're planning on to moving forward, addressing those. And then lastly is, in the event that we would need to go into a tier 2 or tier 3, what will that look like for your child? And we hope that we're clear in that communication with both you, the board, as well as our staff and our community members. So when students are placed in quarantine or in isolation due to having been exposed to COVID-19 or testing positive for COVID-19, usually there is a time frame, and I know that that's recently changed with some orders from CDC, but it's usually anywhere from 7 to 14 days, depending on when that test came back positive or when the exposure occurred. And there may be a prolonged term if somebody in their home is tested positive and they've been exposed and so forth. And sometimes some of our students have been out for 3 to 4 weeks. So when students are out for 3 or more days throughout our district, we have asked our teachers to be available to provide that instruction through our remote learning, whether that's Google Meets, Google Classroom, where those kids are able to log into that classroom and attend that instruction just as if they were sitting in that desk. That is currently happening in all of our buildings. May not be at every classroom, but I can tell you that the majority of our teachers have already taken this approach just because they don't want those kids to be behind in instruction. When students are at home, they'll be able to log in at the same time that they would during the traditional school day. So if this class started at 8 o'clock, they would log in and they would be marked present as if they were attending that class. We understand that throughout the day, they may need to take a break from that computer screen. And obviously that's something that our teachers will work through with that student and their families. At the high school, those classes are marked a little bit differently for attendance. They will need to log in for each of those periods that they have. We know that if a student is really ill, obviously we wouldn't expect them to attend. Just like if they were at school and they were ill, we would expect them to go home and rest and take care of themselves. They will be asked to be medically excused, just like they would be if they were at school. And we will mark them as absent medical on that day or that classroom period. This has been something that has been really remarkable from our teachers and an effort that our district has done a nice job through our technology department as well as our curriculum department of encouraging to have all of these resources available in all of our classrooms. As you know, we ordered a lot of this technology way back last spring. We finally have been able to have those in each of our classrooms. So now we have the possibility to offer that to our students. This will allow our students to, even though they're not able to get that person face-to-face instruction, to be exposed to the curriculum so that when they get back to class, whenever that duration of quarantine or isolation is, that they will hopefully not be as far behind as if they were just missed instruction for that time. If a student's home for 1 or 2 days, which happens from time to time as we ask parents to keep their kids home when they're sick, we don't expect them to necessarily log in and they would just be handled by like they've always been. You know, you can pick up some homework and things like that. So that's how we're managing our students that are quarantined. And again, next semester, we'll be expecting our teachers that if they have a student in their classroom that's going to be out for longer than 3 days, to have that remote ability for that student in their classrooms. Our distance learners. So these are students that for one reason or another are unable to attend school face-to-face for the entire quarter or the entire semester or the entire school year. Throughout this first semester, we've seen this number dramatically reduce from what we started with back in August to today. Significantly large amount of those students have come back to attend physical school, which we're excited about, and I think some of their parents are excited about too. That speaks volumes about the protocols we've put in place to make them feel safe about our schools. So what we're looking at doing based on our data and based on what information Superintendent Behringer shared is at the elementary schools, we're going to keep things the same. Obviously, that's being successful. We're going to continue to have one teacher per grade level teach remotely, where if a student is in our distance program, they are added to that teacher's roster and then is able to log into that classroom each day and participate in that classroom just like they would be again if they were on site. Again, we've got some classrooms, some grade levels at the elementary level where we have 8 or 9 students, some where we don't have any. So we have to have that capability, but instruction at the elementary looks a little different. Those teachers are responsible for all content. And so we believe that this has been a method that has worked for that long-term plan of having those teachers that are extremely comfortable with the technology continue to do so. Please understand that if a student is failing or is not doing well, we'll be meeting with that family and explaining that it may be in their best interest to return to school, or if attendance is a concern. For the most part, we've had those conversations and parents have understood, or the problem's been alleviated. So again, we've had a large degree of success. Here are a few changes to our distance learning programs. As Superintendent Behringer shared, our Plato online program, which is a software that students would log into and do so on their own and follow through a series of courses, just didn't go as planned for the majority of those students. And so to make sure that we meet our obligation in providing that quality education and standards and making sure that those kids aren't behind when they go on to the next grade, we're going to have all of our students that are distance remote into those classrooms, just like our students that are quarantined or students that are out for longer than 3 days, and attend that class through distance learning, Google Meets or Google Classroom, and participate that way. So they'll be marked in attendance each of those periods at the middle school. And again, they will be sitting and participating in that class just like they were there in person. So that's going to be a little bit different. In the past, they would have signed on to a computer software and done it on their own. Now we're going to ask them to remote in and actually take in that instruction from those classroom teachers. Unfortunately, as we have found out last spring, some of our electives are really challenging to do in a remote setting. And so we're going to still have a few teachers that will do Plato for those electives. And there'll only be a few available, unfortunately, but that's just due to the nature of the distance learning program. So we will work with those families, and I know that our middle school administrators are already planning on those contacts for explaining what that will look like. Attendance will also be taken daily through each of those periods. Any new student that wants to join the distance learning option, okay, per that principal approval now, just need to know that they will only be able to attend distance learning. So you won't be able to come in for some classes and then attend distance for others, unless you may have an individualized education plan or a Section 504 plan that would suggest that would be necessary to meet your needs. Those students will just be asked to either be full-time distance or full-time on-site. If you're wanting to participate in that distance learning, remember that is a quarter commitment, and we may need to ask for some of that medical information. The reason is we did have a few students, both at the middle school and high school, that just wanted to do so because they didn't want to come to school. And there wasn't really a valid reason behind them staying home. It wasn't due to a family member's health risks or their own health risks. And we really want to try to limit that to those students that have a true reason for being there. There are opportunities, if families choose to go fully online, and those are some that they may need to explore if this doesn't meet their needs. Again, failing grades or not participating may require us to meet with those students, as we have in this first semester. The high school looks identical to that. Students will be also asked to log into those classrooms virtually, and our teachers at the high school have done an outstanding job of already having those cameras available and providing that instruction. I can tell you that we've had teachers that have been home quarantined and set up classrooms in their homes and provided that instruction remotely from their home, just because they know that the instruction they're providing is impactful to those students. So we really appreciate all of our teachers who have already embraced this and championed this. And we know that some of the others who may need a little bit more support, we have folks available to help them with that. And as we kind of move into this next semester. So again, similar for the high school as it is the middle school, in that no more Plato. If you have been in that Plato and you were successful, you may be grandfathered in. But for the majority of those students, we'll be moving into that virtual remote learning. All right, so now we move into a couple tiers, and this again would be led from the guidance of our county or state health officials. I know in a meeting earlier this week with our state health official, she continues to let us know that schools are one of the safest places for kids to be, and that it's critical for our students and their well-being, both mental health as well as just instructional. So we appreciate her support in that. I think that all of us in this room probably believe that our schools are where kids need to be and our experiences there get to be exposed to. But in the event that we would get guidance that things take a worse turn and we need to look at some other options, we want to be prepared. And so we want to explain to our community members kind of what that would look like. So our first tier would be tier 2, which is a combination of in-person as well as distance learning. So remember that this would be in an effort to try to reduce the amount of students in a building at one time or in a classroom at one time. Our K-12 students would be assigned to an A or B schedule, with student A attending, say, on Monday, and the student in person, with student B attending remotely from home through the Google Classroom or Google Meets. On the next day, on say Tuesday, Group A would then attend via remote learning, and Group B would be able to come to school. Our teachers would attend every single day. They would be expected to sign into their classrooms as expected throughout their schedule, as if they were in person. And we would have this information on their Infinite Campus account as well if they forgot, say maybe after a weekend, which am I actually supposed to go to school tomorrow or am I virtual? We would have that information on each of their own account as well. Teachers will be teaching new content every single day. So whether or not you're attending in person or remote, each day will be as if we were going to school like we are now. Each day is going to be a new instructional day. We may have a day of review. We may have a test on one day, all of those things. But we will go as following our curriculum guidelines and things as we are currently. In tier 2, rural schools, they can attend each day in that there's obviously a lot less enrollment in those schools, and they're able to kind of follow those guidelines, as well as Expedition, who is already able to carry on with social distancing and some of those things where they only have a small number of students. So a little bit of a change is if students have a special education plan, a Section 504 plan, or they are an English language learner, those students will be able to attend every day. And that's to try and provide that consistency in services being provided. And we also know that it's not such a large number that it would make a dramatic impact on the number of students in that building or that classroom. So we believe that it's important for those students to be able to receive those services every day, as well as our students in our special programs, such as life skills, behavior, and total care and things. So if you're a student that receives speech articulation, this is the special ed director in me, just speech artic students and things where you may not have any academic needs, you would follow that A to B schedule and go remote on those off days, because you would be able to receive your speech therapy on those days where you're attending school. All right, moving on to tier 3, where this again would be worst case scenario, where we're back to full-time distance learning, where our students would be at home, the majority of our students receiving instruction remotely. So all students would attend via Google Classroom or Google Meets, K-12. Our staff would come into work and into their classrooms, unless, of course, the orders from the state would prohibit us from doing so. And they would be able to have access to all of their instructional materials and follow kind of their schedule as they would if they came every day as they are right now. Our elementary and staff and staff members who have younger kids would also be able to bring their children to their classroom, as we know that can be sometimes challenging to have that happen. Our rural schools will also depend on those county health orders, and that they may not extend to that area of our community. And so if McKinnon is outside and they feel like that's a safer place to be, then they may not have to be all remote, and we'll handle those individually, such as Tolman Ranch and Granger. Our elementary students in tier 3 would follow the same schedule as though they would be in school. So attendance will be taken daily, and they would attend that day as they've tried already in their schedule. Throughout the day, they would have some breaks built in. The teacher would be able to, provide them a half hour for lunch and sometimes for movement breaks and things like that. But their day will look very similar, and our teachers will teach it as though they are in their classroom in person. Again, if our students are receiving special ed services, they will be provided throughout the day as they are currently via remote learning. Okay, now we get a little bit more creative. So our middle school students would attend school from 7:40 to 2 with 35-minute class periods, 8-period day, attendance is taken each period. That limits it to around 4 hours and 40 minutes of screen time per day, with 10 minutes between each class, a 45-minute lunch time, then a 60-minute at the end of each day for office hours, and also time for students to be able to remote in with their teachers if they need an extra help, but also 60 minutes for students who need that additional support, whether it be through special education, 504, ELL, any of those other programs, they would be able to also receive that support. So it looks a little different, kind of an early out day schedule, but we're trying to also provide opportunities for our teachers to have some additional time to collaborate and plan, as this looks different. Remote learning is not easy, and we want to try to make it as impactful as we can. High school students, again, a little bit different, following kind of an early out schedule, and that's 7:40 to 1:15 with 35-minute class periods, 7 periods a day, so a little bit different at the high school. 4 hours and 5 minutes of instructional time with 10 minutes between each, 45-minute lunch, a 35-minute PLC time each day for those high school teachers, and then again 60 minutes at the end of each day for office hours, and 105 minutes for our students who are needing additional support. In meeting with both of those administrative teams there, they felt like these were really good approaches to meeting the students' needs at each of their buildings. Expedition Academy would look a little different. And again, this would be 8 to 12:45. They have a block schedule, and so they only have 4 class periods a day that are longer. So they would attend for 50 minutes with 10 minutes each. Again, that 45-minute lunch. They would also have that 35-minute or that 30-minute PLC, and then an hour of planning at the end, and also the office space or office hours for students, as well as 105 minutes for instructional support. So looks fairly similar to the high school, other than only 4 class periods. Where it looks a little different is for our students in our special programs. And so these are our kids that are in our life skills programs, students that are in total care, students that spend 60% or more of their day outside of the general ed classroom. We experienced last spring just how difficult this is for them to receive remote learning. We're seeing that right now. We have some kids that are quarantined in our special programs. They can't just get on the computer like everyone else and access their classroom. Looks very different. Their needs are very different. And so for those students, we would ask from some leniency from the county health to be able to have those kids able to come in each day and still receive their instruction. So that will look a little different. And we believe that also allows for our staff that works with those kids, our nutrition staff, our transportation staff, all of those folks to also continue to have some roles and responsibilities that will be needed to allow them to continue to work for us during those challenging times. Having that small percentage of those kids at each of our buildings, we feel like we can still adhere to the county health concerns of having school in session. So again, this would be worst case scenario. We feel like we need to get creative, and we feel like we're addressing all of our students' needs in doing so. Lastly, I know I opened this with this, but again, we can't express our gratitude for all of our employees. I know that right now, as Superintendent Behringer said, you walk in and most of them are just going as the flow of the day. However, we know some of them are stressed, some of them are worn out. Our nursing staff is really stressed and worn out. They're also helping the county health with the tracing and a lot of that work. It's a lot of extra hours. We get phone calls. I know all of us here get phone calls late at night, unfortunately, from different exposure. And so we want to thank them. And I know that a lot of our folks have had to adjust how they do their business, but we appreciate their patience as we get through this. We hope that it's just through the next semester, and then we can come back up here and make some adjustments. But for the time being, this is what's allowing our kids to come back to school every day. So, all right, with that, any questions?
Questions? Brenda?
I'd just like to thank
Robin.
you. This is really, yeah, I'm talking.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I think it's really lined out well and easy to understand because, you know, this is a complicated process and it's a little bit different at every level, like you just described. So, you know, thank you for doing that so complete. and helping us understand how it's going to work. I do appreciate that. Thank
You bet. I think, again, kudos to our admin team here for allowing us to visit with them and plan around their needs because they're in the buildings every day. So it's definitely a team effort, but thank you, Robin.
Brenda?
So on our distance learners, how many do we have at the middle school and the high school?
I'm going to say a guess 20, 17 at Lincoln, and the high school, about 35.
And that's down significantly from the start of the year.
Yeah, and some of that is on their own. Some of that has been encouraged. Yeah. So.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah.
Rochelle? Sorry, Ashley.
That's okay. I just wondered, because you talked about the students that are not just doing distance learning. Do we have like a significant number that are kind of some going to school part-time and then doing the distance learning, or is that not a significant?
We do not. There are some, and it does make it very challenging. And then we also have some homeschool students that come for just select few times of the day. I know that those are hard because they do take some slots for some kids that are there every day, all day long. And there are some circumstances that make it where it's justified. There are other times when we may need to explore if that's really in the best interest of that student. And so we may have some conversations down the road. But for the time being, those students that are currently in that schedule, we don't feel like we should make a schedule change at this next semester. But it may be a conversation we need to explore for next year. Yeah. It's a small number though. I would say probably just half a dozen at each.
Rochelle?
Yeah, I just want to say, I was concerned about the numbers too, like Steve said, that was concerning. So the fact that you're not beating a dead horse with Play-Dohs and you're just going to do something different, I appreciate that. And adding the accountability, I think, back into the families and the kiddos, that they have to have that structure of getting will make a big difference. So thanks for doing that. That was
70 students or so out of about 2,600 is a pretty good percentage for us to say that in school and face-to-face is working. So
yeah.
Agree. But anybody else? Mark, anything? David?
Thank you.
I would just say, Alan, thanks. I mean, this is exactly what I think the district needed to share with the public. So transparency piece there is good. And thanks to all those that were involved in that. Appreciate it. Next item is consider the approval of the board poll of December 1st on the RFP results for the new line interactive units. And JR, I assume there's no changes here.
Nope, no changes at all. Yeah, we had 7, I believe, bids. Some of them met all the specs, some of them did not. Came down to 2 at the very end, Firefly and Troxel at $149,292. We would like to go with Troxel just because we have a history with them, and they also guaranteed that they could make our December 30th deadline on receiving them. So.
Okay, I need a motion to approve 58 new line interactive displays with monitoring carts with a 7-year warranty for Troxel for $149,292. Moved by Brenda, second by Robin. Any discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, JR.
Thank you.
Next up is the consider approval of the summer maintenance project request. Mr. Hamel, glad you didn't fall asleep over there, and welcome.
Thank you, Chairman Court, Board of Trustees. So if you look at 8.02, I'm hoping that your list looks like mine. You would see the summer list as it was approved by the Facilities Committee earlier this month for your consideration. And I'll take a second to buzz down through the list, huh?
I think.
Don't have to? Okay,
No.
thank you.
But stay there. There might be some questions. I need a motion to approve the summer maintenance projects list for 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Rochelle, second by Brenda. Total is $826,800. And this number here reflects major maintenance money, but that could change depending on what we decide to do on the Lincoln Middle School locker rooms. And we'll make that decision in April or so.
Yep.
Any questions of Doug? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it. Consider approval of the budget calendar for 2021, 2022, and a review of the budget. Chris, welcome back.
Thank you, Chairman Core, Superintendent Behringer, and trustees. The budget calendar looks very similar this year. With the exception of the fact that the 2021 general session has been delayed, and the delay is based on an evaluation that will occur as to when they feel they can meet safely. And so at this point in time, we don't know when they will meet, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It could be in March. I saw a calendar for May. So it does set up some challenges for them and for school districts, probably for everybody in the state, in that, especially for school districts, as we have some statutory deadlines that we are required to meet. And this schedule or this delay in the session may not allow for the legislature to impose any changes to our funding. We don't know. And that's part of the reason for the delay in pushing up the task force meeting for another month or so, just so that we have more information to work with.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the budget calendar proposal, knowing that it's very fluid. Moved by Brenda, second by Robin. Any discussion on this? All those in favor? Oh, wait.
I do have
Go.
a question.
Sure.
So if the legislature doesn't meet in time, technically our budget just rolls over the same as it is? I mean, that would be.
Well, one example is we are required to, what's our April 15th deadline to let people know what's happening next year. So it would be nice to, if we knew by then. We'll keep you posted as soon as we know what can happen. I mean, they've talked about in some of my meetings, they're saying it might get kicked down the road for another year, but I don't think everything's going to get kicked down the road for another year. So it's just watch and listen and learn every day.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, consider approval of the voluntary reduction incentive plan. Chris?
Okay, so I'd like to update you on the 2021 funding that we do know about coming, that we're facing right now. I've talked about this at the prior meetings, and we know that we are having a significant loss in average daily membership this year. And my numbers and Craig's numbers are really close, but we're looking at different reports. So don't be alarmed by that. But I'm showing 150 students if I look at the ADM this month. And part of that is the fact that we do have some kids that pulled out of the district to go to virtual schools and to do homeschooling. And I'll show you those numbers here in a minute. So, and then there was an adjustment in last legislative session. If you recall, they approved an external cost adjustment for 2021, I'm sorry. And then for 21-22, they approved that external cost adjustment at 50% of their 2021 adjustment. Additionally, in the model for 21-22, you'll remember that the health insurance model funding is based on the state of Wyoming's insurance premium. So that consequently, we're going to get a little boost in the model for the health insurance. So our total known funding adjustment right now is right at $1 million, which is 2.4% of our budget. We know that today. And just a little bit more on ADM, there's the 150 students that I was talking about. Of those, we figure 86 of them have pulled out for alternate learning situations, and 64 have actually moved from Green River. With the 3-year rolling average, we'll only get hit for a loss of 75 students. So, but that loss of 150 will stay with us for 3 years. It's going to be in the mix for 3 years. This chart is my best effort to try to show you what might happen 3 years after next year. if our 86 kids that are temporarily pulled out, hopefully, if they return and we continue our trend of a 2% decline in ADM annually, it kind of shows you what the ADM goes to, but also what the dollar adjustments would be in those future years. So they said this is just a projection and it could easily change, but that would be my best guess as of today. So in addition, the things that we don't know relative to our budget for next year are the recalibration concerns. We've talked about these in other meetings. They're talking about adjustments to class size, adjustments to per pupil amounts in the areas of supplies and student activities, a potential change in the way they do health insurance funding, continuation of the special ed cap, and there is now a potential reinstatement on deck of a transportation cap. You will recall some months ago that Governor Gordon requested in one of his budget speeches that Wyoming school districts consider a voluntary 10% budget reduction, but there really was no firm guidance or how or when this was supposed to happen. So school districts across the state are looking at what would a 10% reduction look like. We're showing you here what a 3% reduction might look like, 6% and 10%. We do not know where this is going to land right now. We don't know if it's going to be rolled out in phases. We just don't know. But these are the numbers that we could be dealing with here.
We could also tell him, no, we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
It is voluntary.
Yeah.
The legislature determines our purse strings, not the governor. Correct?
Yes, this is true. And that was what was strange about the request, because it doesn't usually come from the governor. It never has come from the governor. So that was a unique situation there. Moving on to addressing the known budget cut that we are faced with in 21-22. The team of administrators that we have been doing monthly meetings in preparation to bringing this task force together, and looking at the enrollment and the loss of ADM, the decline of $1 million that we're expecting, we are proposing a voluntary reduction incentive plan. This is to address the needs of declining enrollment, and it will, with the goal of reducing staff in all areas, certified professional staff, support staff, supervisors, and administrators. The goal of this plan is to mitigate as much as possible the need for an involuntary reduction in force. We have 83 employees that would be eligible for this offer. And the offer is laid out for you here. Certified professional staff, it would be a $42,000 offer. Support staff is prorated based on the months of service that they work, or their monthly schedule that they work, but 12 monthers, $22,000, and then prorated from there. Supervisors, $52,000, and administrators, $62,000. This incentive plan would be a one-time investment in right-sizing, if you will, our district in preparation for our new ADM that we're working with here. It would be a one-time investment, and the numbers that I'm giving you here are based, or a range of numbers based on, we don't know how many employees would potentially be interested, but we're trying to do our best guess. And it could be a range. So our one-time investment we're predicting would range from $850 to $1.156 million. And the ongoing savings, depending on which level you were at, could be $1.4 million, and that would be year over year, to $1.64 million, which those two numbers I show you equate to that per 3.5% and 4% respectively of a budget reduction. The investment would come from our cash reserve and potential any budgetary savings that we may realize in 2021. It was the thought that to get on this as soon as possible to give people a chance. It's a big decision. Give people a chance, give the district time to make these decisions and be prepared for the second round or whatever you want to call that, whatever the legislature delivers to us in the spring. So the timeline here is that the offers would be delivered to the eligible employees by this Friday. They would have until January 6th to accept the offer. The school board would approve the offers on January 12th, and then the notice would go to the volunteers on January 13th. This timeline gets us in a position to where by March 4th, we pretty much know where we stand, which is a good date for human resources, I think. So with that, I'll try to answer any questions.
Well, we got to approve this. So let's get it on the table and we can discuss this. I need a motion to approve the voluntary reduction incentive plan as outlined.
I would make that motion.
Moved by Brenda, second by Robin. Discussion, comments?
Good plan.
Well, we know one thing, that it's not going to change. And well, we don't know this for 100% sure, but it's the enrollment decline.
Yeah.
We got to do something. I think it's a good plan. I've read this over and over and we'll see. I think it's a good plan. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
We have budget amendments to consider. Chris?
Yes, we have one budget amendment. And this is a housekeeping amendment. This is on our nutrition services fund. And after the budget was adopted, we did receive some governor's COVID funds for food service, $46,045. And Supervisor Kennison has also applied for and received a No Kid Hungry grant for $15,000 that she will use for ovens for her central kitchen. So we are increasing appropriations by $61,045.
Okay, I need a motion, please. Moved by Rochelle, second by Ashley to increase the nutrition services budget by $61,045. I like that word, increase.
Yeah.
That's good. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. One more, Chris. Consider approval of the medical flexible spending account amendment.
Okay, this one's going to be an easy one this year. I did learn after this was placed on the agenda that there is no change to the medical flexible spending account amount. There usually is a $50 increase. It remained at the 2020 level for 2021 at $2,750. So no action required on that.
No action required?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you.
Appreciate it. Here, update on the Wyoming High School Activity Association Winter Sports Update. We can keep this short because you got the email I sent out today that has all the protocols. I've had several questions on this, believe it or not. Can I go to the basketball game on Saturday? The answer to that question is no.
Yes, you can.
Well, unless I'm reffing or doing something stupid like that, which I am.
You just need to announce.
Yeah, I
the
can do
game.
the PA announcing, but I don't have a kid in the basketball team. I can't go. But anyway, I yield to you.
I'll keep it brief. Good evening and thank you, Chairman Corr, Superintendent Behringer, and Board of Trustees. As you know, we made it through fall seasons. We are now heading into the winter sports seasons. Last weekend, we hosted at our high school a basketball scrimmage for the boys team on Saturday and a wrestling scrimmage. 100% mask wearing by parents. Everybody followed protocols without question. And that was just simply with coaches telling everybody what to do. It was great. Just tonight, to give you an idea of what's going on with activities, I wrote it down. LMS basketball games, we just played those at Monroe and at Lincoln. 100% masking by people. I got the word to Rollins yesterday that they could have 2 people come. Our folks could have 3. Everybody complied. It was outstanding. We had our first softball open gym, folks. They're over at Truman right now. I think they probably just finished up. So we've started softball. Travel basketball practice was going on at Lincoln, cheer practice, boys swimming, wrestling, and basketball practice. The weight room is open. Joe Vasco had some spurs over at Truman. Soccer open gym has started, dance practice, you name it. Everything's going on and everyone's following protocols and everyone's doing a great job. The kids do an unbelievable job. The restrictions are very tight for this winter. They've tightened down. We can only have 100 spectators at most of our events, and some of those even less than that. Every kid on the team bench in basketball is wearing a mask. All coaches, referees, the whole works. Like I said, it's already going well. We will require masks in the winter. The WHSAA worked with the state health department. That'll be a requirement. That's okay. Everybody's working through it so that we can have our teams. We are going to have a Flaming Gorge Classic. We've got 18 teams. I sent the updated schedule to Mr. Core. I got it out to the media. It'll go out to more people tomorrow. And it's just Friday and Saturday this year, but I counted. There's 60 games that are going to be played. We can still fit them in. We can still follow the protocols. We can still make it safe. We've got Matt Freeze working on all of the referees. We've got travel and tourism involved. We are bringing in people. We're working through it, following protocols. We're going to have 20 teams in our Toman invite on January 15th and 16th, Mr. Sanders. That's more than we've had since I've been here. So we've taken advantage a little bit of some of this, and we're going to use Rock Springs on that as well. But all of these things are happening for us. It's wonderful. It's great. We just found out indoor track protocols yesterday. It's tough on the parents. I know we're trying to get the word out. This is minute by minute, day by day, what changes for me. I just received this morning new basketball protocols in addition to what we have to do. We just found out from Laramie today that they will take 2 parents to go to their games. Jackson has no fans because of their county health department. We will have 3, Mr. Core mentioned it, we will be able to have 3 parents at each of our events at home, whether that's swimming, wrestling, or basketball. What'll happen is if you have a sophomore boy basketball player, you'll go to that game. You get 3 tickets to watch. If that sophomore also plays JV, of course, we'll clear out the gym. We disinfect. We follow all the protocols. Next JV team starts warming up. JV parents come back. If that includes you again, you come back in. Then we'll go varsity girls, varsity boys. We will live stream the games in the main gym. So our varsity games will be live streamed, and our radio network will connect right into that. So you can watch or listen to the radio, whatever you want. Scheduling, just so you know, my schedules, this is something that it's tough on our transportation department. It's tough on our parents. I've changed our schedules probably 10 times a day. South, for instance, Friday, our basketball teams are heading to Laramie, but only our girls. South got quarantined. Their whole team got quarantined, or not South, but Laramie High School. Laramie High School boys got quarantined. We thought we weren't going to play the South boys on Saturday, but they are going to be able to come. So we've had to adjust. So there's all sorts of things going on, but I will say that things are going well. We will get more of the information out to the media tomorrow on our protocols. We will get it out to our parents. If you looked at our website right now, the school district website, front and center on the news, I put our protocols on there. So the process has begun. It will have to work through the kinks the first couple of weekends, but once the parents get it all down in the community, we'll be good to go. Any questions?
Questions? Good job, Tony.
Thanks.
Are you, Tony, going to live stream Tolman?
Yeah, so any of the matches from JV, varsity, any basketball games, you name it, even the Tolman, in the main gym, those will all be live streamed for sure. And Brad Skinner has talked to me about doing some of the other gyms for wrestling and basketball that aren't in our main gym through Facebook, through YouTube, and doing them those ways too. And swimming as well, actually, Mark.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Thanks.
Probably want the SRO officer in there next week. We want to be nice, so we just need to be nice about this masking because it's a very volatile, opinionated deal. And I can see somebody showing up at the basketball game refusing to put the mask on. And I just think we need to handle that with kid gloves because I don't want to see on social media somebody being arrested for not wearing a mask at Green River High School. So anyway, SRO might help.
We got you. The SRO will be at our games. And when I said 100% masking, Mr. Core, this weekend, that wasn't without Lori Ivy taking care of one situation and myself taking care of another calmly, thoroughly, with no issues.
Yeah. Bottom line, if you want to watch your kid play, wear a mask. All right, consider approval of the early graduates for Expedition Academy and Green River High School. Mr. Obrey, we'll start with you. Welcome.
All right, Superintendent Core, board members.
I wish.
Sorry, Chairman.
I'd be getting paid.
Superintendent.
Just promoted him.
That'd be scary. No, I mean,
I'll
sorry.
take the paycheck, Craig. You can have mine.
All right, here we go. And board members. The students before you on our list have been submitted and for board policy. These are graduates for first quarter and second quarter, hopefully at the end of December 23rd this year. All of the courses will be verified for our second quarter students. And if they don't graduate, we'll have them back for third quarter. But just one thing I wanted to share with you. Looking at our graduation from last year rates, when we talk about our 1920 cohort, a cohort is a student that starts ninth grade and finishes in 4 years. That's what the state looks as our cohorts. Anything above that's fifth year and we start getting dinged and all those fun things. But for our graduation 1920 cohort, we had 14 of 16 students that graduated, which was 88%. We had 3 drops, 1 transfer, and 2 come to our school from placement facilities. Our total seniors for the year were 22. We had 1 fifth-year graduate, 1 non-grad fifth year that returned this year and is on the list before you as a 6th-year grad in December. We had 1 non-graduate that returned and will also graduate this December from last school year. So we're getting a few of those students that are 5th and 6th year graduates just on life circumstances, but they're coming back and they're finishing their high school diplomas.
That's great news. Need a motion, please. Moved by Rochelle, second by Robin to approve the Expedition Academy list of students for early graduation, assuming they fulfill their obligations.
Correct.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Ralph. Appreciate it.
And on our 175 days of school, I just want to say the best sound I heard all year when we came back to school in August was the kids out of the playgrounds at the elementary schools.
Yeah, agree.
That was awesome.
Agree. Next is Green River High School. Darren, welcome.
Thank you, Chairman Core, Superintendent Behringer, and Board of Trustees. Before you is the list that we've presented for our early graduates for us for this school year. We don't have those special circumstances that Expedition Academy has with the 5th and 6th year senior types of things for early graduation here. These are all traditional kids that are completing their graduation requirements at the end of this semester, pending their current grades passing. So if they pass, they're going to graduate if it's up to you. Thanks for your consideration.
I need a motion, please. Moved by Robin, second by Ashley to approve the Green River High School early graduation list pending they finish their work. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next up, consider approval of revision to policy JEB, entrance age, third and final reading. Dr. Foose, welcome back.
Thank you, Chairman Core, Superintendent Behringer, trustees. This is the third reading. Trustee Young, if you want to see about 40 emails exchanged, I can get you a background on this policy, but thank you for your consideration on the third reading here.
Need a motion, please?
Second.
Moved by Robin, second by Rochelle to approve on third and final reading. Revision of policy JEB entrance age. I'm not happy about this, but I got a feeling it's going to pass. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, consider approval of the amendment to policy KBDA, parent and family engagement.
Thank you, Chairman Core. We're just making an amendment here on the person responsible for conducting this annual meeting. We're going to move that over to person in charge of our grants, just to make sure that we're in compliance as she runs those meetings. So wanting this thing to just go into effect starting tomorrow. Thank you for your consideration.
Need a motion, please.
So moved, Brenda.
Moved by Brenda. I haven't missed you yet.
Yes, you did.
Second by Dave.
Twice.
Twice?
Or
Oh, well.
3 times, but that's okay.
Okay. All right.
You're long way. That's 6
I know.
feet of separation.
Yeah.
All right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Ashley, looking forward to working with you starting January.
Thanks.
We have some work to do.
All right, superintendent and board comments, short, sweet, and to the point. Let's start with Ashley.
Okay, I just wanted to, one thing that they didn't mention with football was we had 2 boys that were, I think it was by the state reffing association, but they got sportsmanship awards, which I thought was just characteristic of all of our students, but I thought that was great. And that was Seth White and no, James King. Okay. But great job to those boys because I just thought that was a great honor to them. And then I just wanted to say thank you to our staff and admin team for the hard work in adapting to the high number of quarantines. And thank you to the secretaries. I was filling for them on those days back from Thanksgiving. I thought their phones probably just kept ringing and questions from parents and excusing their students. So thank you to everyone for just being flexible and adapting this year because it is a different kind of year.
Well said. Brenda.
I just wanted to give a quick update on the boards that I serve on. I did WSBA, but CDC, the numbers are improving after a really rough start this fall. Our numbers are just down 5 students from last year, so we're very excited about that. They're doing some really good teamwork and team building, building a cohesive team up there. They are dealing a lot with the COVID just like we are, and so trying to follow protocols. And then on the Region 5 BOCES, this past year, they've really focused on increasing visibility in the state, and the WDE still is determined that they're not a local education agency, so they are seeking help from local districts to challenge their cause and to help them get recognized as a local agency. So I'll get you some information on that, but they're really, really struggling, and they do provide a great service for our students that don't fit in the traditional setting. So, and I wanted to thank the staff for all their hard work. Thank you for the presentations tonight. Really helps us stay on top. And I want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, praying for you to be healthy and safe in the new year. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Brenda. Rochelle.
You almost stole my
Yeah, I
Call
just,
on you and just say.
to Colleen Seeloff, she is hands down amazing. This district is very lucky to have her. I got to see her at a PLC and watch her dig into information and dive in. And if what she was doing is what her kids are doing, that's no wonder because she's pretty impressive. So, and that girls swim team, I hope my daughter grows up to be like them and works as hard as they do because they're pretty impressive. They're pretty amazing. And I want to say to Craig, thank you for being in the schools like you are. I've heard from several staff that you're there all the time, you're accessible, and you've been a great leader. So I appreciate that. And to everyone, I hope you have a Merry Christmas.
All right. Thank you, Rochelle. Rob.
I'm basically going to ditto what Brenda said. I do sincerely appreciate how hard our staff is working. And I think that is due to the outstanding leadership we have by our leaders. So thank you for all your hard work and dedication to both our staff and students. I would really like to encourage everybody to stay safe in and out of school, so that I would hate to lose any of our administrators or educators because of not following appropriate protocols by wearing masks and staying safe distances away from people. So, and then on that, I hope Santa Claus is good to everyone, and please enjoy your break because you all deserve it more than I can say.
Thank you, Robin. Mr. Young.
Thank you. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here. This is my first meeting and grateful for the trust of the community to be here. I too would just echo what's been said. You all have done a marvelous job during this first semester. You've faced unique challenges that none of us have ever faced before, and you've stood tall and you've weathered the storm so far. So thank you for everything that you've done and the things that you continue to do. And I hope you enjoy some time off. You need it and you deserve it, and come back charged again for the second semester.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Mr. Sanders.
I wanted to congratulate Colleen on her great achievements. I really think she should probably sell her house because she's never there. Tim Ray, thanks for your presentation. It's good. You know, as a medical provider, we don't completely know what distance learning ramifications mentally and physically are going to be, and financially to school districts. We're going to take some pretty good financial hits with distance learning at this point. So I think all the things you put in place and push for the kids are very, very important to kind of bridge that gap. We get to see the medical problems of these students, which sometimes you see them in schools, a lot of times you don't. And so it's challenging, and we're being swamped with a lot of that right now. Otherwise, Craig, I appreciated your presentation. Really enjoyed that. Thank you, and stay healthy, and Merry Christmas, everybody.
All right. Thanks, Mark. Craig?
I would like to be brief and just thank our building leaders and supervisors. I mean, there's been a lot of heavy discussions, and it's interesting. You'll go into a meeting thinking, you know what the outcome's going to be, and you walk out and it's not the outcome you went in with. But I really appreciate the leadership that they provide us and throughout our district.
All right. Thank you, Craig. Want to welcome Dave to the foray. Should be fun. Hang on. I too want to thank all of our employees. Hopefully they'll be continues to be cautious. And I get to be Santa Claus tonight because I'm going to announce that the school board, the Board of Trustees, has agreed to give all of our employees, 530 employees, a $25 gift certificate for downtown businesses, and the city of Green River will tack on $10 more for that. So you'll get a $35 gift certificate from the Board of Trustees. And the Board of Trustees has also agreed to have the district closed on December 31st. So if you were scheduled to work on the 31st, you don't have to come to work on the 31st. So that's our Merry Christmas to you, and thank you. Is there anything else? No. Yeah, Foosh, you don't have to work on the 31st. And if you would please pass that along to your employees, Craig will be handing out those certificates, and spend that money right here in Green River. It'll roll over 7 times, and we'll put about $200,000 into our local economy. So, but it is a thank you to our employees. You guys have worked. I don't think we've ever done this before. And you guys have worked tirelessly. Everybody in this district has worked tirelessly, and it's just a little way of saying thanks. So thank you. We need to go into executive session to discuss student discipline, and there will be action after the executive session for your information. So I need a motion, please. Moved by Robin, second by Brenda. Go into executive session. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And if you're gone, welcome and have a happy holiday.
It's bedtime.
I get it.
Moved by Brenda, second by Robin to end our executive session. All those in favor? Motion carries. Need a motion, please? Moved by Brenda, second by Mark. KTG.